Welcome back to another first grade best practice video. I am Nicole Ward. In this video, we will share what one could see and hear when they visit a mathematics classroom that are learning about fractions. This Engage activity below comes from STEMscopes. In this activity, students will watch this quick hook of someone cutting into a waffle, because who doesn't like waffles? Then, using the student handout you see on the right, students will determine how much of the waffle each of the 4 friends would receive. During this Engage, the teachers could observe if students would be able to model and describe equal shares. This activity will engage the students in the work they are about to start in this first grade unit of study on fractions. It could also make them a little hungry. This first grade unit of study on fractions will encompass the following key learning goals: partitioning rectangles and circles into 2 and 4 equal shares, describing each partition using the words or phrases halves, half of, fourths, fourth of, quarters, and quarter of. Students will not be writing fraction notations until 3rd grade. So you can see in the example, they'll only see it written as 1/2. Describing the whole as 2 of or 4 of the shares. And lastly, understanding that decomposing into more equal shares creates smaller shares. All of these goals can be found on the STEMscopes parent letter. What should we see happening in the classroom to help students achieve these goals? Notice in the example, students are deciding how to partition the rectangle in half. After they partition the rectangle, they make a quick pick. In the next activity, students are partitioning the circle into fourths. They also use real-world objects like crackers to determine, when breaking the cracker in halves and wholes, if they are equal shares or not. All of these snippets are from the STEMscopes Explore. Through the use of CRA, we want to show the connection between the models. Teachers will select different student strategies to use to discuss the comparison. These explorations by students in the classroom could demonstrate MTRs 1, 2, 5, and 7. The types of questions we ask students will determine the types of conversations we will hear in our classroom. The following are some examples of math chat questions you can find in STEMscopes. Notice that most of these questions are open-ended and will help elicit thinking and explanation from a student. The conversations elicited from these questions can demonstrate MTRs 1, 4, and 6. As our students engage in exploration and discuss their learning, we should hear mathematical vocabulary, not only from the students, but also the teacher. Here is a list of possible vocabulary terms that we could hear while students are working in this fraction unit. We would want to hear words like partition when students are discussing separating their model into equal size shares. We would also want to hear the words halves when referring to 2 equal shares and fourths when referring to 4 equal shares. This vocabulary list can be found on the STEMscopes parent letter. Throughout the unit of study, we should see multiple opportunities for students to demonstrate their knowledge and understanding. This could include students partitioning shapes into halves and fourths, as well as using a word bank to make statements true. They could do this in their student journal and exit tickets during the Explore, as well as the Show What You Know task as a follow-up. Students could also use a fluency builder game to process and elaborate on their thinking, such as this Go Fish match. Teachers could use the show and tell student cards to assess students' understanding, as well as this skill builder quiz. All of these activities provide this teacher with formal assessments to gauge their learning throughout the unit. These activities can all demonstrate MTRs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7, and can be found in STEMscopes under the Explore, Explain, and Elaborate tab. As we visit classrooms, we may want to ask students questions to better gauge their understanding of the current content. Here we see a couple different questions we could ask to get a better understanding of their knowledge with fractions, such as asking them what happens to the size of the shares if we decompose a shape, or what does it mean to partition something into halves. Remember, you can access additional questions to ask students on our smathsmarts.com website. Students' explanation could demonstrate MTRs 4, 5, and 6. Students can continue their learning at home and would likely want to bring home an engaging activity. This activity is taken directly from the bottom of the STEMscopes parent letter. For this activity, students would find an area that they could draw a rectangle or circle or even both. This could be in the sand, on a dry erase board, or on the sidewalk using chalk. Then, parents would ask students to partition the shape they drew into equal parts. They could even ask them to draw the shape again and partition into another equal part. Even though this isn't in the classroom, it is a great demonstration of students using their learning from the fractions unit and is hitting MTRs 3 and 7. Giving the students time to explore partitioning rectangles and circles will help them understand what it means by equal shares. All of these experiences are giving them the opportunity to create connections and increase their understanding of fractions. Hopefully, with the help of these best practices, you and your students feel like this at the end of the unit. We will see you soon for another next practice video.